Welcome back. In this video we'll be talking about the meaning of life and also a lot of interesting stuff, so very excited to make this video. And first let me tell you a story. You see, it's around 2022 and I'm in school. I'm sitting there in some boring class and I'm thinking to myself, what's the point of this? Like, it's so boring, why am I here? And then I'm also thinking, like, what's the point of all of this? What's the point of school? Why do I have to come here, learn all of this bullshit? And then I was thinking, what's the point of all of this? I mean, why am I here? What am I doing here? What's all this about? And I was there wondering about these huge questions. And of course, and the teacher asked me, well, Linear, what was the last thing that I just said? And of course I couldn't answer, and so on, so on. You can probably relate to this story. You probably had some kind of similar experience, you see. But the thing is that a lot of people actually suffer because of this question, because they can't find any meaning in life, because they can't find the purpose. What's the point of all of this? Like, I always wondered why we never talk about stuff like this in school, you see. Why we never talk about why are we here, what's all this about? You see, that's also another reason why I want to become a teacher. I mean, if you don't know, I want to become a teacher because, like, the school system is lacking so many stuff. Don't talk about the important stuff like this, what's this all about? And that's what I want to change. But you see, I think that it's very simple. I mean, the way that I look at it is that the meaning of life is just life. It's life itself. There is nothing beyond it. You see, the purpose, the meaning of life is just to be alive. And it's that simple. I mean, as Alan Watts said, the meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and it's so obvious and so simple. And yet everybody rushes around in a great panic, as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. You see, the meaning of life, as I think it, is just this moment. It's just to be alive. It's this present moment. I mean, it's just the same as with dancing, you see. Why do you dance? Is there a purpose to dancing? You see, we don't dance to get somewhere. We don't dance to get to a specific place on the floor. No, we just dance to go round and round and round and round for no reason at all. The point of dancing is the dance itself. And also it's the same with music. Why do we play music? I mean, why do we listen to music? Is music getting somewhere? You see, is the point of music is to get to the end of the song? I mean, if that was the case, of course, the best players would be those who got there the fastest. But you see, the point of the music is the music itself. It's this moment. There's nothing beyond it. And it's just the same with life. The point of it is only found in this moment. But you see, when we say that the meaning of life is just to be alive, or when we say that life or nature is purposeless, it has a negative tone to it. You see, it's kind of like a put-down word, that it's purposeless, it has no future in it. But you see, there's another way of looking at purposelessness. There's a way of looking at it that is joyous. And we'll talk about it later. But first, I want to get back to the question itself. What is the meaning? What is the purpose of life? And I want to investigate and clarify, what do we really mean when we say meaning and purpose? First, let's talk about purpose. When we say purpose, we talk about events that are pointed towards some kind of future result. Purpose is acts that are leading to some kind of future outcome. I mean, for example, let's say that you're walking down to the city. And if you're walking down to the city to buy groceries, we could say that that is a purposeful thing. But if you're just walking down to the city for absolutely no reason, you're just wandering, then we could say that your action is purposeless. And now there's another way that we use purpose when we ask, what's the purpose of this? What's the purpose of this machine? You see, the purpose of this machine is to cut wood. But now let me ask you this, what's the purpose of a rock? What's the purpose of clouds? What's the purpose of some goldfish? I mean, to be alive, to go on? But why do that? What's the purpose of that? See, what's the purpose of us? I mean, do the rocks have some kind of intention to get somewhere, to get to some future result? You see, only machines have some purpose. Now, what about meaning? What do we mean when we say the meaning of something? Well, you see, the first sense of meaning is that of a sign. I mean, let me just illustrate to you by an example. When we have this word over here, cloud, but you see, this word is just a sound. Cloud is just a sound, but it has meaning to us because we know that it refers to this. But of course, the noise sound is not the actual thing itself. But the word cloud, this sound, has meaning because it represents, it stands for the actual thing itself. It points to this thing. And that because of that, it has meaning. So then, we could say that the first sense of meaning is a function of a sign, a noise or a symbol, which points or refers to something other than itself. It points to something beyond itself. For example, if you know some programming, it's just the same as a pointer. It points to something, but it's not the thing that it points to. I mean, for example, let's take the sign, the plus sign. You see the plus sign. The plus sign points to the process of addition. It refers to the process of adding. But it's a pointer, it points to that. The plus sign, it's not the adding itself. Now then, if life has to be meaningful, in the sense of meaning and purpose that we just talked about, then that means that things, events, people are only meaningful, they are only purposeful insofar as they are leading to something else or insofar as they are referring to something else. And you see, this makes people or things or events much like words, which are always referring to something beyond themselves and mean nothing, just in themselves, just by themselves. But you see, this is not at all what we see in nature. I mean, why do the planets go round and round and round and round for eternity around a star? I mean, are they trying to get somewhere? Do they have some kind of intention to go somewhere, to get something in the future? Or what do goldfish represent? Do they symbolize anything? You see, it's all just a dance. And in some Eastern ideas, life itself, the trees, the mountains, the stars, and us in our own behavior, is not looked upon as mere signs that are just leading to something else. No, but they are regarded as being in a state of fulfillment in every single moment. You see, when we ask about the meaning of life, I think that that is the wrong question. Because you see, life, there's nothing beyond it. There's nothing beyond life. It doesn't point to anything. Like, it is the whole energy and system of everything in the world. There's nothing beyond it. It doesn't mean anything because it is complete as it is. It's full. It doesn't have to mean anything because it's complete. It's not pointing to something else beyond itself. And you see, you are this total energy of the universe. You are not different from it. You see, you're a part of the total energy. You are a part of the universe, or more correctly, you're an expression of it. You see, you are inseparable from everything else. You are inseparable from this universe. You're not something different, this individual, separated from everything else around you. You're just as inseparable from it, meaning it, everything else, this total energy. You are that total energy and you're just as inseparable from it as a branch of a tree is inseparable from the tree itself, and the tree is inseparable from the branch. And also, when we ask about the purpose of life, as we said, that purpose is acts that are leading to some kind of future result. But you see, life is not trying to get somewhere. It doesn't have like this intention to get something in the future. All of this is not happening for the future, for some kind of future result. Because you see, the future is only an abstraction. It only exists in our thoughts, you see. It doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is this moment. There is only now. And that is the point of life. It can only be found in the here and the now. And now we got off a little track there, but you see, we talked about the first sense of meaning. And the other sense of meaning is that of the sense of order. I mean, for example, if we were to look at this shape, for example, we would say that it's kind of senseless, you see. It doesn't have that much of a meaning. It doesn't mean very much. It's just a chaotic blob. But you see, when we mirror it, it creates a pattern. An element of recognition comes into play. You see, we recognize the repetition of the shape in reverse. And this recognition makes it meaningful, it makes it patterned and orderly in some certain way. So then, one way that we could say that life has meaning is that it has order. But you see, if you take order in life too far, you move to another kind of meaninglessness, which we call monotony. I mean, this is to say that if, for example, every day is just the same as the day before, and you find yourself in a routine where you do exactly the same job every single day, you find that your life starts to get boring. So you see, we find that through too much of an order, through an excess of order, life loses its vitality. So you see, it seems like that we need disorder in order to have order. We need disorder to have order. They can't exist without each other. And we need some kind of nonsense to make life meaningful. We need nonsense to give life some kind of meaning. I mean, for example, just look at art. Why is the artist so fascinated by the forms of nature? Why does the artist copy so often the forms of nature? I mean, surely he does it to pay a tribute to a certain kind of meaninglessness and a joyous purposelessness that we can find in nature. Because of this fact that we're fascinated by the freedom of natural forms from having to mean something, from having to make sense, which gives us this sense of relief. You see, we get this relief in nature because of the freedom of nature. Because the freedom that it has, that it doesn't always have to mean something, that it doesn't always have to make sense. Because nowadays, whatever we do, it has to make sense. It has to lead to some kind of future result. And this freedom in nature gives us a relief. And so there's this, I think it's a Chinese poem that says, the beauty of a mountain is that it's so much like a mountain. And the beauty of water is that it's so much like water. Now, as we said before, when we say that life or nature is purposeless, it has a negative tone to it. But you see, there's another way of looking at purposelessness, which is joyous, which can bring us peace. Now, as we said before, nature is basically purposeless. It doesn't have some kind of future intention. I mean, if as we said that words represent an object, for example, as a cloud represents the actual thing itself, then what do rocks represent? What do trees represent? What do mountains represent? Do they mean something? Do they symbolize anything? Do they have some kind of purpose? Or are they intentionally working towards some future result? The waves washing on the shore for eternity, does it have some kind of intention? Is it getting somewhere? See, no. It's all a dance. It's all purposeless. You see, there's a peace that we can find in this purposelessness. You see, the Japanese have this word called yugen, and they describe it like this. Watching wild geese fly and be hidden in the clouds. Watching a ship vanish behind a distant island. Wandering on and on in a forest with no thought of return. I mean, haven't you done this? Haven't you done this before, just sitting back, going back and forth in your chair, just twiddling your thumbs for absolutely no reason, just sitting there, just wandering on, just walking in a forest with no thought of return, with no mind, with no purpose in mind, just picking up a stick while you're going along and randomly bumping it into rocks. Haven't you done this? And you see, interestingly, all of these are an expression of fullness. You see, it is in these moments when we have this feeling of profound contentment. It's in these moments when we are full, when we are whole. So then, you see, when we try to force life to have meaning and to make sense to us, it hides its meaning from us. But when we accept this nonsense of the world, the senselessness of life, we can find a greater meaning in it. We can find this certain kind of meaning in meaninglessness, in this nonsense. We can find it by accepting it, not trying to go against it, but accepting it. And you see, as an end note, just do what you like to do, really. I mean, no one will remember you in 100 years. You'll be a handful of dust, and that's true. That's a reality. So act on that reality. You see, do what you like to do right now. Do what makes you fulfilled. Do what you like to do with people that you like to do. And if you don't know what you like to do, what makes you fulfilled, that's okay. You got the rest of your life to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you see, what really makes us happy, it's cheap. You don't need a lot of money for that. I mean, what makes us happy? Being around people, doing what we like with people we like, having some great dinners, you see, having fun, you're just enjoying this present moment. And how we feel, really, it determines, all of it goes on in here. So then remember that you need some nonsense in life. And that you're going to die. And that after a couple of 100 years, no one will remember you. All of your stuff will be owned by other people. Your house will burn down. It will be all scraps, and it will be all just a handful of dust, including you. So then I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I'm actually very interested to read your thoughts about the stuff that I was saying. And it was actually very fun to make this video. If you're interested, I took a lot of the ideas from Alan Watts. You can check him out. He's a great guy. He has a bunch of videos on YouTube. He wrote a bunch of books. He talks about a lot of very interesting stuff. Highly recommend you to check him out, Alan Watts. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you found it interesting. And as I said, leave your question in the comments or any ideas that you have. I'm very interested to read them, actually. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Have a great day and goodbye.